Hello guys, welcome to the course of Level 8 API Development Tutorial. This is part 7. Inside this video, we will see the concept of data seeder. If I back to project setup, in the last videos, we had discussed the concept of migration as well as the concept of model. So by using the concept of model and the migration table, now this time we will seed some dummy data inside our students table. So if I back to browser, this is our database, and inside this database we had created this students table. Right now there is no entry inside this table. Now we want some dummy data inside this students table. So to do any entry, we have two options. Either we can click on this insert. After clicking on that, we need to pass the manual values and click on go button. But it is okay when we are inserting, let's say 5 or 10 number of rows. But in case if we want to insert 1000, 10,000 of number of rows, so in that situation this trick will not work. So inside that situation we will use the concept of seeder. So by the help of data seeder concept, we can seed dummy data inside any of the table inside Laravel application. So inside this table called student, the structure is something we want the name value, email, age, phone number and gender. Because rest 3 columns, let's say ID, created at and updated at, for these 2 columns we have the by default value as the null value. And this is primary key, and also it is auto increment. So we want only 5 means value for 5 number of columns. So how can we start with the seeder concept? Back to folder structure. So when we create any data seeder file which is going to help us to seed dummy data, it will go and store inside this database, and we have 3 folders. So inside database we have 3 folders. About this migrations we understood inside last videos. Now inside this folder we have 2 more folders called factories and seeders. So factories are similar to seeder. When we create any factory file, it is also going to seed dummy data inside table. So by the help of factory concept and seeders concept, we can seed dummy data inside our table. So we will see the first all about the concept of factory to seed dummy data. So if I back to terminal, when we type the command called php artisan, inside make command palette we will have the command call. If we go inside this make command palette, as we can see we have the command called make factory. So it will create a new model factory. So by the help of concept of factory and model, factory is going to produce the dummy data by the help of faker library, and then by the help of this model it will insert all those dummy datas inside this table. So for this we have an article. So go inside this blogging website, articles, Level 8, and click on this search bar. If we type, let's say seeder in Laravel, so if I press enter, click on this article, as you can see here. Now inside this article we have the concept of using factory and faker library with the model to seed dummy data. So if I scroll down, we have the complete detailed concept inside this article. So we will use the factory. So here you can see that using factory file to seed data inside Laravel. So firstly we need to generate a factory file. So php artisan make factory. This is the syntax what we had seen inside this terminal command. Now next we need to pass the factory name, and we will create this factory for student table. So simply in our case we are just moving with the example of students, and we had created inside last video the student model. So this command is totally perfect. So copy that command, go here. We are currently inside this Laravel-API folder. We are creating a factory with the name student factory, model student. So pressing enter, factory created successfully. So if I back to our project folder, go inside database, factories, and here we have the file called student factory. So by default inside this definition method, we are returning an empty array. So inside this array, we need to specify all the columns what we have inside our student model table. So this student table model pointing towards students database table. So simply we need to specify all those 5 columns inside this return array. So if we go here and simply if I copy the whole code of this definition method, go here, pasting here. Now what are the columns we want? We want something name, email, age. So here as you can see that name, email, here we have the age. Next we want phone number. So I will copy this column name, replace with this mobile. Next we have the column as gender. Already here we have inside this gender the available values we have called male and female. So we don't want any more with this others option, and also we don't have this address info field. And one more thing, that this faker is the by default faker library we are using of this Laravel setup. By the help of this faker instance, we are using some properties and methods. As we can see, name is a method, save email, phone number are the member variables, and this faker is an instance of faker library. By the help of faker library, we can create fake data. So simply all we had done the setup of this student factory. Now next what we have to do, we need to go inside our database seeder.php file. So simply go here, go inside this seeders, database seeder, and inside this database seeder simply we need to copy this command, go here, pasting it here. So here what we are doing, simply this is the student model inside last video what we had created. So by the help of this model we are calling our factory file, and by the help of factory file we are generating 100 number of dummy rows. Now next what we have to do, simply back to terminal, we need to run our factory file. So for that we need to run our database seeder.php file. So we have a command which is going to run our database seeder.php file. So command is something php artisan db seed. So if I press enter, as we can see that database seeding completed successfully. So if I back to browser, go inside this table, click on browse, and here we are getting all about 100 number of rows with the fake name, fake email, fake age value, fake phone number, and fake gender value. So this is all about, guys, that is how can we use factory to see dummy data inside our database table. Now next we will use the concept of seeder and see that by the help of a seeder file how can we seed dummy data. So back to blog article, if we go up, so here using faker library in seeder file. So we need to create first a seeder file. So how can we create? If I type the command called php artisan, go inside make command palette, and inside make command palette we should see a command called make seeder. This command is going to create a new seeder class. So we want to seed the dummy data for students table. So what I will do, let's say php artisan make seeder, let's say student seeder. So pressing enter, seeder created successfully. So if I back to project setup, reload that, go inside database, seeders, and here as we can see that we are getting, and I think that I misspelled all about the spelling, so don't worry at all, this is TwinSeeder what we have created. So right now inside this run method we don't have any code, so back to blog article. So what I will do, simply if I copy the whole code, go here inside this run method and pasting it here. So first of all we are using this db class, so we need to import, so use db. This db class is coming from facades, and by the help of this db we can use the query builder approach. And here as we can see that we are creating the faker instance. As we told earlier that the faker is a by default library available inside this Laravel 8 application to generate fake data. So simply we are using this faker instance. Now here we are using the query builder approach, so db table students means inside this table we want dummy data, insert method, and here we are creating an array. So inside this array we have the column as name, email, and the next column we have something phone underscore number, age, gender, and we don't have like address info, so I will remove. And also we have don't option all about others. So we have created this student seeder file. Now next, how can we run or execute this file? So we have two options. Either we can load this class inside this file, or simply by passing a class flag we can directly run this file inside our terminal. So if we want to load this class inside this file, simply what we have to do, we need to use this call method, and inside this call method we need to pass our class name. So we have the class name as student seeder, and we had done that. So by the help of that, again we need to run the command called php artisan dbseed. So when we execute that command, it will automatically call this file and run this run method. Now in the next approach, if we want to execute this file directly, we need to pass the class flag inside our command. So if I copy this command back to terminal, as we can see that php artisan dbseed class, and inside this class we need to pass the class name. So inside this class, this is the class name, so I will copy, remove here, pasting it here. Now if you go inside this table, let's sort by key into descending order. So inside this table, the last column with the ID called 100. So if we go and pressing enter, database seeding completed successfully. Now by the help of this class, actually we had done one more row entry inside this table. So if we go and reload this table, now as we can see that we are getting 101 ID with the new entry, and this is by the help of seeder file. So for this video session guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.